Bell rolls is the reporter thrown into the secretive world of the Forex Super Model, where nothing is as it seems. Beware the techno monk, and steer clear of Professor Code and his two assistants. Give the senior trader a wide berth, and don't expect any sense from the risk manager.
Testing. Good morning, I'm Professor Code and this is the Forex Super Model daily briefing for Friday the 8th of October 2021. Time is just 0425, 25 past 4 in the morning. Asian session coming to a close, European session firing up, our lunchtime, North American session. Right, Thursday the 7th then, yesterday's trading. We had a positive unopposed driver in the pound at plus 133. No backdoor flows. The opposing negative flows mainly coming out the yen at minus 111, and the dollar and the euro were the joint rock and negative movers at minus 11 apiece. Activity plus or minus 133. Intra-week then, this is the most relevant because it's from Monday the 4th open to about 15 minutes ago. We've got a negative opposed driver in the yen at minus 355. Front and back door flows mainly going into the pound at plus 318, into the dollar at plus 94, and the euro is the negative rock at minus 57. Activity plus or minus 412. Right, so over the week then we've had a weak yen driving. It's been driving mainly positive flows into the pound. So you've got weak yen, strong pound over the week, and yesterday we had a sort of a peak in the pound, if you like. The pound was driving to the exclusion of all else positively, and the yen was sucking up the bulk of those negative flows, and the dollar and the euro were pretty static, which is where we're seeing on the weekly basis. So that's the takeaway there. So basically, if you look at the situation, you can see that you've got yen and euro on the negative, and the dollar on the positive with the pounds. Right, so intraday then, this is the Asian session to about 15 minutes ago. We've got a negative unopposed driver in the yen, minus 86. No backdoor flows. The opposing positive flows mainly going into the euro, plus 33, the dollar, plus 28, and the pound at plus 25. So they're pretty evenly going in, and that's on activity plus or minus 86. Right, so we'll stop it there and write up the flows. Right, we're back. We've written up the flows then. So the euro is strong except against the CAD, the AUD, and the NZD, so the commodity currencies. The yen's weak across the board. The pound is weak except against the yen and the Swiss. The Swiss is weak except against the yen. The CAD is strong except against the New Zealand dollar. The AUD is strong except against the CAD and the NZD. And the NZD is strong across the board. The dollar is weak except against the yen, the Swiss, and the pound. Right, so what's the takeaway then? So we've got yen weakness in the Asian session to the exclusion of all else. We've got NZD strength, and basically you've got this commodity currencies being strong. So you've got New Zealand is the strongest. The CAD is the next, and the AUD is the weakest of the three. And you've got weakness, as I say, in the yen and the Swiss. And the pound is the interesting one. The pound's sort of rolled over. It's weak except against the yen and the Swiss. Right. So what's going to knock it about then? Well, today, Friday then, Friday the 8th is the NFP Friday, non-farm payrolls. So this is the sort of climax of the week, if you like. And if you look over into next week, it's boxed in by Wednesday the 13th. Fed minutes. So you've got NFP today, and then Wednesday next week you've got the Fed minutes. And the other bit of news is the US Senate has voted to temporarily extend the debt ceiling. So no real surprise there. They didn't have much choice on that. So that's where we are. We'll stop it there and write up the asset classes and then do the final analysis. Right, we've written up the asset classes. So the US dollar index then, so it's been pumped up, it came off, it's coming back up. It's 0.125 from the high and 8 off the modelled high. So dollar strong. Gold doesn't like a strong dollar normally, so it's 0.36 off the floor. It's about a third off the floor. Oil did this break. It stayed above the break. It came back a fair bit, and it's now back up to its double top high after the break. It's 0.25 plus 0.25 over the break, so 25% break basically for oil. Wall Street, S&P Tech, they've all got this sort of rise, come off, come back, and they're recovering. Wall Street is 0.36 from the high, S&P is 0.5 from the high, and the Tech is 0.42 from the floor. So in terms of strength, you've got S&P, Wall Street's above half marks, S&P is at half marks, and the Tech is below half marks. So that's the order really. And then you've got US 10-year and the bund, which is the prices. So you've got the US 10-year is actually on the deck. So in price, so yields are at their strongest, relatively speaking, in model terms. The bund is also pretty strong, but it's bounced a little bit. So the prices bounced a little bit, so yields have come off, and it's 0.15 from the floor. So it's 15% off the floor. So arguably, US yields are stronger than European yields at that juncture. Copper then has been chopping about. It's 0.42 from the high, so it's above half marks, and it's coming up a bit, but it's been very moody. And US steel is the opposite really. It's basically been soft all the time, and it's now on the deck, but they've just passed this debt ceiling in the Senate, so that you could well see US steel start charging up, particularly off the back of this equity recovery as well. So anyway, let's get rid of that and do the final analysis. So we've got NFP day, and arguably the non-farm payrolls is starting to have a much less effect. Well, not starting. It used to be the sort of focus. You used to see whole videos made of how to trade the NFP and all this stuff, and now it's sort of taken a back seat, and you're starting to see maybe it's starting to creep back into dominance again now. So anyway, we've got the dollar, the euro, the yen in the majors, and the pound. Right, if you look at the flows, yesterday the pound was the unopposed positive driver. Now that means one of two things. It either means it's the start of a further ramp up in the pound, or it's a top. Now, and if you look at the weekly flows, the yen has been negatively driving just over the pound strength. It's likely that the pound has peaked. That's what we would suggest. You got US 10 years. US 10-year on the deck, so there, in terms of the yields are at their max. It's likely you're going to see, now they've passed the debt ceiling, it's likely you're going to see a rise in price in US 10-year, and therefore a fall off in bonds. So that's likely to put downward pressure on the dollar. So you've got a bit of a negative there. You've got a negative there. So if you've got flows out of the dollar, out of the pound, and then you've got the equity transmission for the. Now, if you get a weaker dollar and the debt ceiling has been raised, it's likely this is going to not harm equities. So equities are likely to be carrying on up. So that's going to put downward pressure on the yen. So basically you've got downward pressure on the yen, flows out of the yen probably, out of the pound, out of the dollar. And therefore the only way for them to go really is into the euro, which has been sold off. So the big takeaway is going to be euro strength and pound weakness probably. So they're the things to look out for. And obviously you've got your commodity currencies, your CAD. Your CAD with oil is pretty high. AUD, NZD, and then the Swiss. The Swiss is likely to be soft as well. So depending on what happens there with oil, so you've got, if equities start going up, you're going to have a neutral to positive on on the AUD and the NZD, and a bit of a question mark over the CAD, because if oil carries on going up, you may get a positive transmission into the CAD. Anyway, that's where we are. So we think you're going to get basically a slightly softer dollar. The main loser is going to be the pound. The yen's going to be neutral to soft off the back of equities, and the main gainer is going to be the euro. So plus, minus, and on all the associated transmissions. So I hope that was useful. Thank you for watching, and try and catch tomorrow's weekly review for the data cycle and flow cycle and what have you. If not, see you Monday for the daily briefing. Goodbye.